there is one bit of news that's worth mentioning. Not comic books specifically, more movie related, but we did get some big casting this week for Superman Legacy. Both Clark and Lois have both been cast. David Corenswet, if that's how you say his name.
Cornsweat. That sounds about right.
And then Rachel Brosnahan. They have both been cast as Superman and Lois Lane. I didn't think I knew the guy from anything. Turned out he was the projectionist in Pearl. So
that's exactly where. When we were watching Pearl, I told my wife, I go, "Man, he's got Clark Kent vibes," you know. So turned out
maybe I wouldn't say his character's personality doesn't, but I see why you said that visually.
Yeah. When I say by vibes, I mean he cuts the figure. You know, he's the projectionist in a small town. You know, he's got this kind of aw shucks to him. A little bit. There's a much darker side to him, though.
Yeah, and then the actress is from The Marvelous Miss Maisel, which I know was very popular, won a lot of awards. I have never watched it, so I have no... As far as I know, I have never seen this actress in anything, so...
My comic book guy had told me, because he watches everything, he's like, oh yeah, that's perfect casting. She's essentially a Lois Lane type on Miss Maisel, which is about a comedian, I think in the 50s, 60s, as she works her way up. So he's like, it feels much more of the Margot Kidder kind of vibes of Lois. You know, she's sassy, and which makes me happy, because, I like a sassy Lois. What's the lady that's on Superman and Lois? I think she's pretty good, too.
Terry Hatcher?
No, not Lois and Clark.
Oh, right, you mean the new one. I'm forgetting her name.
Because Terry Hatcher's my favorite Lois, so...
I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I think she was pretty good. In the one season of that I watched, I liked her Lois. So if we're close to that, kind of mix those two, I think we'll be in good hands. Now it makes me want to watch Miss Maisel, though, because it's been sitting there on Prime, constantly being recommended. So, yeah, I think I have time for Superman Legacy.
Well, yeah, it's going to be like at least 2 years, and that's if the various strikes don't delay it further, like everyone else is getting delayed. I think for me, I like that, relatively speaking, these are unknowns, and I realize that being the star of a TV show that's went multiple seasons isn't really an unknown, but she's unknown to me, and that's...
Well, but go look at her filmography. It is a lot of TV stuff. It's not too much movies.
Yeah, she's not the big movie role. But the point I'm getting at, though, is that I think Superman especially, I like when I don't really know the actor from anything else first. I don't like being clouded with something else. For whatever reason, that's a particular character where there's someone that I don't know. Just an unknown is the best fit. Same with the T-1000. Robert Patrick was an unknown.
I was wondering where you were going with that. I was like, wait.
Well, I was just trying to be funny more than anything, but it is a legit trivia question. If it ever comes up, what's the connection between Superman and the T-1000? Some people might say, oh, they're both made of steel. No, it's they were both unknowns when they were cast.
Yeah, so I'm looking at her movie list, and it's not like a lot of stuff that I recognize.
I'm sure she's been in movies, but yeah, nothing.
Oh no, she has, but it's not stuff. I mean, The Finest Hours, that's the title I know. I think Chris Pine was in that. The Unborn sounds like a horror movie.
From 2009?
Yeah.
Oh, that movie's horrible. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a David Goyer production, that one.
Gotcha. So... But yeah, then you get down to TV, and it's full of stuff. So she was on The Blacklist for 6 episodes.
Okay.
Orange is the New Black. House of Cards for 19 episodes. So yeah, I'm very excited. I like I like when there's Superman news that's positive.
Yeah. All right. It's perfect. Honestly, it's the best type of news that it could have been for this casting, but it's also not much to really say about it. It's just like, yeah, they cast people who look like they could be Superman and Lois Lane, but I don't really have much of an opinion on either of their acting abilities, which I actually like. Like I say, I prefer that they're unknown to me, but at the same time, it makes it mean that there's not really anything to say about them either, beyond just they look kind of like they suit the roles. You know, I can see him with the curl. I can see her running around the Daily Planet, and that's about it.
He has the build of Superman, kind of in that same way that Christopher Reeve did, where they're just kind of like this big guy. And I think sometimes that goes a long way, because you want that guy to fill up the S. That was kind of a thing with Ralph, where I thought his performance was fine, but he always seemed like of a smaller build. And it felt like a guy in a Superman costume instead of Superman himself. You know?
Yeah, it's not really like a muscly thing either, because it's not like Christopher Reeve was super muscly. It's just a sort of shoulders and chest kind of shape thing.
Yeah, it fills out the costume. So, but yeah, very very exciting. I mean, most of the things that James Gunn touched, I've enjoyed. So the fact that this is moving.
Where did he touch you?
Yeah, well, yeah, I would take a hug from him. But you know, James Gunn seems like a good hugger. But yeah,
that was just a weird way to phrase it. James Gunn's touched things that I've enjoyed.
Well, the things that he's touched, like, you know, stuff like not necessarily directed and written, you know, but things that he's produced, just keeping that as a wide berth, because it's not just his Marvel movies. Like, I'd rather enjoy Slither, and that's a completely different movie than like the vibe of what I would expect from Superman. Although they've also thought about aliens, so who knows? I
mean, to be fair, nothing in his filmography really makes me think Superman necessarily, but he's saying a lot of the right things when he's talked about what the movie's going to be. So we'll see if he can pull it off. And it is a tall order because no one's been able to pull it off really in a long time. One of the biggest things about Superman as a movie character is that all the iterations we've had in the last, ever since Returns, really, have been kind of off.
Just excited that this is, coming around. And again, positive news. People seem to be pretty positive about these castings, because you always see in the castings, people always, but I haven't seen too many complaints. So that's tends to be good.
No, that's true. I've not seen any broad negativity. And I think that's probably as well why having relative unknowns works, is because it's hard for someone to come out and say, oh, this guy sucks because of this, this, and this, when you're like, well, what have you seen him in?
Right.
Well, so, it's a blank slate from that kind of perspective.